Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us for our webinar Financial and Business Reporting for Oracle EBS, R12 and 11i. So today's speakers are Philip Howard from Bloor Research and Julie Bowen from insightsoftware.com. So without further ado, Jules, over to you.
Thank you, Amy. If you'd just like to introduce yourself, Philip, and give everyone a little bit of background.
Okay, so I'm Research Director at Bloor Research. I've been with the company for 22 years. I head up the Information Management Group, and with regard to at least today's webinar, interests in reporting, business intelligence and so forth.
Thank you. I'm the Business Development Manager at Insight Software, but I spent my early career working as a management accountant. I've also implemented many finance solutions and procurement, so I very much know the topic that we're talking about from both sides, both from working at Insight and what we deliver, but also being an end user of such applications. I joined Insight Software 9 years ago. So, Philip, could you tell us a little bit about the research work conducted by Bloor?
Yes, so what we did was we wanted to compare users' impressions, the total cost of ownership and so forth across different methods of reporting and business intelligence against financial data in Oracle e-Business Suite. We got responses from, as you can imagine, a variety of different users using different tools. Primarily, and the ones we were most focused on were Excel, Hyperion. We also got results from Cognos, some people doing bespoke development, and of course Insight Software. And then our report analyses the results that we got and so on and so forth.
So what are the financial and business reporting solutions in 11 and 12 that you tend to come across mainly?
Well, the main ones are either using the tools that Oracle itself provides, of which of course there are several, which is actually part of the problem, and spreadsheets. Quite a lot of people use Excel with a bit of, some Excel and some of something else. We had to, when we were analysing the results, we basically had to say, well, if they've answered we use Hyperion with a bit of Excel for this, then we categorise that as Hyperion, and if they said we use Excel with a bit of Hyperion for that, then we'd categorise. So we had to sort of mix and match like that.
Right. Okay. So I think what we tend to find is people create reports when generally they just want answers to business questions. So do you actually find that's the case, that because people can't get the data that they want in a format they want easily, that their natural reaction is to try and create some sort of report through whatever means is available?
Well, I think that's true. I think it's true both for historic reasons and it remains true where the whole world is moving, if you like, towards self-service capabilities. I want to be able to get out whatever information I want in my time without having to rely on IT to do it for me. The problem is that a lot of the historic solutions and the solutions that still exist around Oracle e-Business Suite is that you still have to rely on IT if you want to ask some sorts of particular questions. So if you can easily be in a position where you say, well, I can't wait for that, I'll develop my own report as an interim measure, or I'll dump the information into Excel and I'll analyse it through that. So it's because people aren't getting the self-service capabilities they need.
Yeah, I think that the point you just made about Excel or Access, I'm out and about speaking to our existing customers and prospects a lot, and I find it really, really strange that people have implemented a solution such as Oracle Financials. They've spent hundreds of thousands of pounds, but they're effectively doing all their reporting from Excel or Access, which completely breaks the link to the data, which you would assume that's one of the things that they would implement in a system like Oracle to get round.
Yes.
So, I mean, obviously you touched on self-service there. So how important do you think it is that users are self-sufficient and not reliant on IT?
Oh, well, I think it's absolutely fundamental. I mean, the problem historically was that wasn't really possible. And not just in this area, but across many areas of business intelligence reporting, whatever you want to describe it as. But all the vendors are now moving in that direction. And people want it because they need to make decisions now. They can't afford to wait till next week or next month to make a decision. They have to make a decision now, and that means you need the information now. So you need a flexible enough environment so that you can get the information you want now, and that's So I think it's really users think it's really. It's not what whether I think it's important. I think users think it's really important.
Yeah, I mean, when I worked in finance, and I see this when I'm out and about as well, finance are constantly taking calls from business users because the business users can't run their own reports and they're getting a flat file of information. They can't analyse the data, so it's stopping them making relevant decisions, and everything finance then becomes a bottleneck.
Yeah.
So you seem to make a distinction between business and operational reporting in the Bloor report, and everybody on the webinar today will actually be sent a copy of that report. So would you say that BI and an application such as Insight have very different functions within an organisation?
Well, they tend to be seen as being different. Reporting is, in the sense that we're talking about it here, about looking at your financials, drilling down into the details. It's very much about what's going on now. It's about running the business today. BI is typically about collecting historic data and analysing it to try and determine why something happened that you didn't like or did like, so that you can prevent it or encourage it to happen again, or to try and help you predict the future. And that's the distinction, if you like. The operational reporting is about how you're running your business on a day-to-day basis, as opposed to the analysing the historic stuff for whatever reason.
Yeah, that's great. One thing a customer said to me not so long ago was that by having Insight for their operational reporting, it actually increased the success of their BI project, because in the first instance when they got BI, they were trying to do everything with it, where it's not designed for operational reporting, transactional detail, because you'd have to do a complete replication of your whole database.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously a lot of companies have already invested in BI, so whereabouts does real-time fit with that, do you think? Is it from an operational perspective?
Well, operational detail, you do need to be real-time. I mean, people use the term real-time, it's a bit sort of loose. You do need it for operational environments. There are environments where you need it for BI. I could go into examples, but they'd be sort of going off topic. But there are certainly, if you're investing in the stock market, for example, you may well want to run analytics again, which combine real-time and historic information, and you want the answer in real time. So there can be BI environments where you need real-time solutions. In fact, I suppose to generalise it, if you want to combine operational information with historic information in order to make a decision in real time, then that's when, if you like, the two collide.
Yeah. And I think the real-time aspects from the operational really comes into play when you get requests for ad hoc information from the business.
Yeah.
And also at month end, as an accountant, somebody's posting their journals, they're posting their accruals. You can't wait for something to be updated. You want to press run and see that reflected immediately. And I think the feedback from our existing customers is that that's where we fit very nicely with BI, that there is a clear distinction, but we complement each other. So is there a particular time when you see companies that use Oracle prioritise reporting? At what point does it really come into the fore, do you think?
Well, do you mean in terms of...
When do they sort of look at reporting and revisit reporting?
Okay. Well, I think the obvious times are... Well, I mean, ideally you should look at reporting at the point at which you are going to decide to use Oracle e-Business Suite or, SAP or, whatever, JD Edwards or whatever it is. You should really, it should be a part of that process. given that it isn't, or an assumption that it isn't, then it's going to be when people upgrade. The most typical would be when they upgrade from one version to another, particularly currently upgrading to version 12.
Yeah, people don't want to take their old FSG reports, Discovery reports and rewrite those. But like you say, people should really be thinking about reporting as soon as they're designing their chart of accounts, because when people design their accounting segment structure, that their end game is to get information out based on that. So how important do you think it is that the user has a consistent interface for data retrieval? The feedback I hear from many Oracle users is that they're confused where to go for information within Oracle, because there's Discover reports for one thing, you've got your financial statement generators, or you might have to go and use an online inquiry, and it becomes very complex.
Well, I don't think this is either unique to Oracle or to financial reporting. Just as a general principle, if you've got one screen from which you can do all the things that you need to do, and you don't need to open new applications or go to, it just makes life simpler and easier. And it's almost so obvious that it's not worth asking about, in a sense that yes, of course it makes life simpler for people if they're just using a single interface.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, many companies still interrogate data and report from Excel, either by using a spreadsheet plugin or by extracting huge volumes of data, which has its own problems. What are your thoughts on this, and do you come across a lot of people still doing this? Because I certainly do.
Yeah. I mean, there are two ways, generally speaking, that you get to analyse your information. You either put it into a data warehouse, or you dump it into Excel. The big problem with Excel, well, the process of dumping the information into Excel is not a repeatable one. That is to say, you can't formalise that process. There are tools which will allow you to, but you have to buy an extra tool to do that. Secondly, there are all sorts of dangers with Excel, because it can easily be used for fraud. Frequently you have multiple spreadsheets which are linked together. Those links can easily break, so you lose the ability to audit what you're doing. They're error prone. They have all sorts of compliance issues. They're not really secure. If you, here's a tip for those of you out there who are criminally minded. If you go to Excel, yes, they'll tell you it's all encrypted and whatever. But if you crash Excel, the backup files that it writes aren't encrypted. So crash your target's Excel system and get to its backup files. There's just, the real problem with Excel, let's put it at a high level, the real problem is that this is an application you're talking about. Putting the information into Excel and then analysing, that should be treated like a conventional application. That means it needs to be properly tested like an application. It needs to be properly secure. You need to be sure that only people who are allowed to see this information are allowed to see it. All those sorts of things that you would have for a normal application. And people don't treat Excel like that.
No. I mean, I've actually seen somebody post a journal adjustment into Excel and not actually post it back into their ERP solution. Going back to what you said, that's an audit nightmare. Absolutely terrible. So how important is it that insightsoftware.com comes with dozens of predefined templates? And these templates obviously understand the segment structures that you've set up within Oracle. They understand your parent-child hierarchies and any descriptive flex fields that you've actually configured within the application.
Well, again, it's just about making life easy for the user. And people like that. It's a single user interface. Templates help to get me started easier. It's all about making life. People have jobs to do. These are tools that support that job, and the easier you can make those tools, and the faster and more flexible, then the better for the user to actually do their real job.
Yeah, I mean, when we developed the software, we developed it very much with the end user in mind. It's been created by accountants, so there is no need to go back to IT, and that's what tends to frustrate people because they are completely reliant on IT. So giving them the information in a format that they can understand, that looks user friendly and is very intuitive, really is important.
Yeah.
I mean, in conclusion, what do you think companies are best to use Oracle as a one-stop shop, or should users look elsewhere for one product that will meet their operational and transactional reporting? Because I mean, you hear different things. There's lots of information out there on the internet. But what's Bloor's opinion on this?
Well, this is a question that, again, it isn't unique to this area. It comes up all over the place. There are clear advantages to having a one-stop shop. You're only dealing with one supplier. There's only one help desk to call if you have problems, so on and so forth. I think the argument that you can put greater financial pressure on that, well, it might apply if you're a FTSE 100 company, but it probably doesn't for most. So that's on the one hand. On the other hand, you have the best of breed argument. Should we select, regardless of who supplies it, the best product? Well, I tend to fall into the latter camp. I wouldn't say, it's going to depend on the organisation. I tend to prefer best of breed tools. It depends how much better they are as well. If there's a marginal difference, then I'd go for the platform probably. If there's a significant difference, then I would go for the best of breed tool. So I think it's I mean, to a certain extent, and let me go back a second. We just talk about these platforms and best of breed and one-stop shopping. The best platforms have, yes, a variety of tools, but they're tightly integrated, so you can easily move across from one to another. They all use the same metadata. They share, common underlying platform. I have to say that with the Oracle stack, you do not tend to get the feeling that that's how they've been developed or created. So yes, it's a one-stop shop, but I'm not sure that I would talk about it as an integrated platform. And I think an integrated platform has got a much bigger argument for saying, well, we'll go with the whole platform. This is Oracle's solutions a bit sort of diverse, so I think there's a much greater case in this particular environment for looking at best of breed solutions.
Yeah, and I think like Oracle's the solutions that they offer have often they've grown through acquisition, so they
Yes.
haven't actually been written with the same single aim when they did that.
That's true, and it takes a lot of, lots of companies have been in that position in different environments. It takes a lot of work to go back and re-engineer the underground of those products to create a common platform. If you look at major companies, they tend to do it once a decade or something.
Yes. I think what we did when we developed Insight for Oracle was we use the Oracle username, for instance. So we're very, very tightly synchronized to Oracle. Users log in with their responsibilities that they've got set up within Oracle, and that allows us to read all the security, because obviously security is very important. If you can't see something in Oracle, you shouldn't be seeing it in your reporting application. And I think tools that aren't that tightly integrated don't adhere to the same structures and security. So I think that sort of concludes what we were going to talk about today, but I have seen a few questions pop up in the side panel that I think Amy's got and she was going to ask.
That's right, Julie. So if you do have any other questions, then please feel free to pop them into the question box in the right side of the panel. So Julie, I think the first question is for you. Would it be possible to install Insight Unlimited and see it running over my data? We've been bitten in the past and we want to make sure it's not over demo data.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've actively encouraged all our customers to try it on their data, and we're more than happy to run a proof of concept. And that proof of concept would be us installing the software. It installs very quickly in an hour. It's then ready to use, and we would come on site and demonstrate how you would actually use our templates to get the information that you want. And that really works well, because obviously people want to see things working on their data.
Lovely. Thanks, Julie. One for you, Philip. Would you implement BI or a transactional reporting tool first?
Well, it depends. I think the other question is who you ask. Who you ask. I think if I was in a financial department, I think I would want to know about the transactions first. If I was, well, I guess it will even vary according to who you are in finance. I mean, the CFO might be more interested in, looking at, well, okay, what decisions we're going to make for the future, so they might be more interested in BI. I actually would argue that actually you should probably look at them both at the same time, because if they're going to be, particularly in the context of what we're talking about, if they're going to be working in a complementary fashion, you want to make sure that they are actually complementary. I think probably looking at the same time.
Yeah.
But I mean, people don't come on this fresh. People have already got BI tools out there, and reporting tools and yada yada yada. So, but yes, on an ideal basis like that.
Okay, lovely, thank you. Another question has just come in. I think this is again for you, Julie. What are the implementation timescales to install Insight Unlimited?
Right. As I've just mentioned, it installs in an hour, then it's ready to use. But after the proof of concept, we recommend that the people that are actually writing the reports need a 2-day training course. Then literally after those 2 days, they will be able to take those templates and deliver the reports to the business in a self-service fashion. There's a very, very quick turnaround. I mean, we've had companies that have literally bought the software, and by the end of the week, they're delivering real-time information to the organisation.
Lovely. Okay, great. Thank you very much. I think we're probably just about out of time now. So Philip, thank you very much for presenting today, and of course Julie, same to you as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you very much everyone that's joined us on the line. We'll speak to you again very soon. Thanks everyone.